We are at a time where we possibly need to be thinking about stopping a genocide. People are already dying and being bombed, but now starvation will be added as well. Many people talk about what they would do if there was a genocide, what they would have done if they were alive in times of a past genocide. Now we will see. Let me be clear that all killings of civilians are a violation of human rights and international law. Now, a little word about bias. No one is without bias, not me, not the President of the United States, not any country. Many are uninformed. Many will lie. In multiple news emissions that I have seen, reporters did not do the best job of informing viewers. Yesterday, Biden gave a conference where he openly lied and left out a lot of important information that could be very costly in lives. He said that the sole purpose of Hamas is to kill Jews. That is not true. Hamas is fighting for a free and independent Palestinian state as well. Clearly, no one is going to agree that they are going about it in a just or way that respects human rights. Again, this is very important because information and normalizing certain information, leaving out certain information, will result in deaths. I am biased. I have also studied the issue. I'm not an Israeli expert. I cannot tell you individual members of the Knesset. I cannot name dates of individual intifadas, etc. But I have studied this. I do have a degree in political science, and this is one of the main focuses that I did have in my study. I hope you will be able to see that. I hope it will come through in this analysis. While there are irrefutable wrongs on both sides, the more you can see the full picture, the more I believe you will see that one side needs help desperately more than the other right now. Background. An hour-long video is not long enough to get into the complicated history and the situation we have now, but we have to start somewhere, so I'm going to try. The current territory in Israel was inhabited by Palestinians before the Jewish population even knew of its existence. Some of this land, what comprises current-day Israel, was also taken from Egypt, Lebanon, and Jordan during armed conflicts. History, dates, don't try to retain it all, you can watch the video multiple times. In 1896, Theodor Herzl published Der Judenstaat, the Jewish States, was a Zionist thinker, and then a year later organized the World Zionist Organization that planned to create for the Jewish people a home in Palestine secured by public law. Now, even in 1896, there were already a very small population of Jewish migrants moving to the area, though this was a very small number. Now we jump forward to World War I, this is the decline of the Ottoman Empire, and the British Empire is promising this land to different groups. It is written and well documented and not really disputed in the Balfour Declaration of 1917 that the Palestinian land was given to the Jewish population. But what is disputed is the Hussein McMahon letters, or I think another word is like, that is disputed that this land was also promised to Arabs, even though they were already living there, in exchange for helping Britons fight the Ottomans, which they did. You can find more about that in link 1 under the video. Now, there was large-scale immigration of Jewish migrants from 1922 to 1947, especially from Europe, especially in the 30s, where you're facing persecution in Europe. These primarily Ashkenazi Jews from European descent, also tended to dominate what would become the Israeli state. The current state of Israel was majority Palestinian until 1948. Interestingly, UN cites violence by Zionists, these are Jewish terrorist groups, against Palestinians in 1947, which was before the State of Israel was even established. You can find more about that in link 2 under the video. Now, 1948 is an extremely pivotal year. This is the year that Britain's mandate on the region ended, on this territory ended, and the State of Israel was declared. This was when there was the War for Independence, that Israelis may call it, and Palestinians refer to it as the Nakba, the catastrophe. Definitely recommend you learn more about this, very interesting story. 700,000 Palestinians fled, and we go from a majority Palestinian country to a 19% Palestinian country. Today, we have Palestinians in Israel, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, the only state to actually grant them citizenship, and in other parts of the world, probably in your city as well. In Israel, Palestinians tend to be concentrated in Gaza. Like looking at your map here, you can see that's on the west part of the country, in the West Bank, which you can see is in the east part of the country. Why is it called the West Bank? It's the West Bank of the Jordan River, not the West Bank of Israel. And in that center of Israel, there are some Palestinians there too. Now, both Israeli and Palestinian societies are complicated. Whenever someone tells you what Israelis are thinking, what Palestinians are thinking, sounds a bit wrong because there are multiple groups within these groups that have different ways of thinking. In Israel alone, in Palestinian alone, there are 3 governing bodies for Palestinians. We don't have time to go into them in this video, but Hamas is the one that is in Gaza. Hamas has a militant wing, but also a governing body. People may not realize, yes, Hamas militant wing is doing attacks, but Hamas governing body is trying to decide how to care for thousands of injured with failing hospitals. Jumping ahead, Gaza is home to 2.3 million Palestinians, 1.7 million refugees. Hamas has been in power on the Gaza Strip since 2007. There was an armed struggle there that led to them being in power, like they forcefully took power in a way, and there have not been elections since. You can learn more about that in link 4 and link 5 under the video. Since Hamas has taken power, Gaza has been under blockade by Israel and Egypt since 2007, 16 years. This has led to bad and worsening conditions over the course of this 16 years. Human rights groups call Gaza the world's largest open-air prison. Antonio Guterres has called it a living hell for children. There's 80% poverty in Gaza. Compare that to Israel, where there's 22% poverty. Find out more, link 6 under the video. Hospitals, it's normal for them to have shortages. People also can't leave. You can't just leave Gaza. They are cut off from the outside world. For 16 years, there have been several conflicts, or there are conflicts. There have been several times when missiles were launched from Israel into Gaza, and those missiles hit, and those missiles usually kill civilians. Now we have to talk about the West Bank, the other side of the country, where Jewish settlements have been pushing Palestinians out of their homes and lands. UN rights experts called on the international community to recognize their findings and call Israel an apartheid in March 2023, citing, "The international community bears much responsibility for this present state of affairs. For more than 40 years, the UN Security Council and General Assembly have stated in hundreds of resolutions that Israel's annexation of occupied territory is unlawful, its construction of hundreds of Jewish settlements are illegal, and its denial of Palestinian self-determination breaches international law." Learn more in link 7 under the video. The UN has clearly told Israel to stop and warned of violence in 2016, years ago, including acts of terror. So they're warning, please stop, saying we want to prevent any violence from happening. We want to prevent possible acts of terror that could come from this illegal settling that you're doing. There's heavy military presence in the West Bank. There are provocations of Israeli settlers toward Palestinians that usually result in shooting. There's settler attacks on Palestinians, racist slogans written and spray painted on cars, and Palestinian security can't chase Israelis back into the Israeli settlements. They can come out of these settlements into occupied territory, hate crimes go right back, and they cannot be chased by Palestinian authorities. It's also here in the West Bank where Israeli military shot and killed American journalist Shirin Abu Akleh. You can learn more with link 9 and link 10 under the video. She was killed in action, part of the press trying to report on the situation there. Next we turn to Al-Aqsa Mosque. This is one of the holiest places in all of Islam. In my opinion, this is one of the weakest reasons for this conflict, but it was one-sided by Hamas, so I want to talk about it to give you some information. There have been Israeli raids at and around Al-Aqsa Mosque, as well as Israeli beatings inside the mosque, which you can see more of and learn more about with link 11 under the video. Now I have to talk about apartheid and persecution, which are both crimes against humanity. Israel has maintained military rule over some portion of the Palestinian population for all but 6 months of its 73-year history. Now, this military law the Palestinians are under is different than the civil law that most Israelis are under. But most Israelis in the Palestine-occupied territories, the settlers, are also given superior status over Palestinians. And there's also movement restrictions in the West Bank. There's a lot to this apartheid that I cannot talk about in a 15-minute video, but please learn more in link 12. Israel has also been under fire politically. Netanyahu has had a 12-year stint as the leader of Israel, left and now is back. Netanyahu has been in power almost as long as Hamas, who we talked about earlier, took power in Gaza. Now it's heading the most right-wing coalition in Israel's history. There have been mass protest intentions between the US and Israel. It's not like Israel and the US have been just completely friends. The US has been advising Israel, and Israel, mainly Netanyahu, has been throwing it to the wayside, completely ignoring it. Learn more in link 13. Also, we have to talk about the US because if you're in the US and you may not know about this conflict and your involvement, but the world is taking note of your involvement because your tax dollars are paying for this. Currently, Israel is the greatest cumulative recipient of US military aid. It has already been getting more than $3 billion a year in assistance from the US. To date, more than $146 billion. Learn more at link 14 and 15. Whether you voted for Obama, whether you voted for Trump, both sent billions of dollars to Israel as well. This is an ongoing thing, and again, your tax dollars are now going to be used for a possible genocide. Now it's time for a very fast recap. Palestinians have roots in the territory. Jewish people needed a place to flee from all the persecution, and it came in many waves, and needed a place where Jews could be safe. There's been violence on both sides for decades, and it's not super easy to attack Hamas, to attack military targets, and a lot of the leaders aren't even in Gaza. There have been 6,180 Palestinians killed in Israel between January 2008 and January 2023. That is over one Palestinian per day. The number for the entire time period is 279 casualties for Israelis. Let's look at Hamas. Attacks against Israeli civilian slaughter and violates human rights and international law. Hostage-taking violates international law. Let's look at Israel. Attacks of civilian slaughter and retaliation violates human rights and international law. Retaining some degree of military control over Palestine for 70 years violates international law. Creating apartheid and persecution for decades that equates to crimes against humanity. Settlements in the West Bank violate international law. Imposing the now total siege that's going to block food, water, violates international law and will lead to innocent deaths. There have also been warnings, many warnings from US and other countries to Israel for years. Let's think about who has what in this conflict. Israel has the Iron Dome, bomb shelters, billions in funding from the US, international support, and the freedom of movement. Gaza has no Iron Dome, no bomb shelters, little funding, little international support, and no ability to escape. Now I'm going to completely flip this and talk about how to stand with Israel. If you have a friend with a crippling habit, a crippling addiction, the last thing you're going to do as a good friend is blindly enable them to continue doing that thing and keep hurting themselves. The last thing we want to do is have everyone, every American politician, every country in the world stand up and say, I stand with Israel and I stand with their military, and let's go out and let's do what we have to do to get back and fight. This can stop. It didn't even need to start in the first place. There have been years and years and years of warnings from the US and the international body. And I argue that standing with the Israeli war machine is not standing with the people of Israel who want to be safe, the people of Israel who want to be able to live in a country that's not an apartheid country, to the Israeli people who don't want to be a part of the possibility of contributing to a genocide. I argue that Netanyahu can end this war today if he takes concrete steps towards change, allows food, water, and aid into Gaza, halts settlements in the West Bank, apologizes for Al-Aqsa, launches investigations into police brutality and settler hate crimes in the West Bank, and commits to definitive talks on a two-state solution. That nullifies Hamas. As soon as Palestine gets an independent state, they are done. Hamas, Hezbollah, this happens, take it for the miracle it is, and this is not a comprehensive understanding of the history or this situation. This is a survival kit. Please watch different sources, look at the things that are linked below. Know that your tax money is likely about to be used to kill innocent people if you live in the US, especially if the truth remains hidden. Your vote carries weight. Know that genocides can happen. You're busy, And thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you feel that it respected your time, as I try to do things in a very concise manner. Thank you, and please do something with this information.